It's one of the many myths out there when it comes to no-fault insurance coverage, a promise of unlimited benefits. And this week's Know the Law segment, attorney Tom Sinas is here to talk about how far the coverage will actually go.
So this is a really important concept to revisit, especially now because we've heard talk in Lansing that perhaps the legislature is going to be revisiting the issue of our auto no-fault law. And so when you read news stories, you hear people talk about a unlimited system, which always sounds to me as though it's a system with no limitations whatsoever. You can get whatever you want, you can get it whenever you want, you can get it wherever you want, it doesn't matter how much it costs. And that's just not true. And so if we're going to have a debate about auto no-fault system, I think we need to make sure that we're using the right concepts and that we understand what the concepts are. So how does our system work? The reason that people call it unlimited, which I don't think is the right word, it just refers to the fact that you are not limited in the number of years that you can claim benefits through the auto no-fault system, and there is no hard number on the amount of dollars that you can claim.
They won't cut you off.
Right, there's not a cap, okay? But that doesn't mean that you get everything whenever you want it, right? What do you first have to do? You first have to show that whatever you are claiming is reasonably necessary. It has to be reasonably necessary for an injured person's care, recovery, or rehabilitation. And the injured person has to prove that, or their medical provider. If you can't prove that it's reasonably necessary, then you don't get it. Okay? What about the cost? Well, we don't have, in the state of Michigan no-fault system, we don't have what some people call a fee schedule, meaning we define by statute that a certain procedure costs a certain dollar.
Right. There's no set prices.
Right. And so sometimes people say that that means, well, there's an unlimited fee they can charge. That's also not true. A medical provider has to prove that their charges are reasonable. And it's on them to prove that. The no-fault insurance company doesn't have to do anything. If a medical provider can't prove that their charges are reasonable, then the medical provider can't establish their burden of proof, and they can't get paid by the auto no-fault insurer.
Let's talk about scenarios. So say you need, you've been in a catastrophic accident and you need in-home help now to get through your days.
Right. Okay.
That would be covered.
Well, sure, yes, but do you have to first establish that the care you need is reasonably necessary, okay, both the kind of care and the amount of care, and then you have to establish that the cost of that care is a reasonable charge. So you can't just have any care you want, right? There has to be a check on what it is that you're claiming. But is that type of care available? Yes, because we have a system that allows for in-home care for catastrophically injured people.
A lot of states don't.
They don't. They don't. And so the states that don't, or the states that have a much more limited no-fault system, then of course the question becomes, well, where are those costs borne by? And they're typically then borne by government payers like Medicare or Medicaid or private health insurance or individuals.
Kick the can on down the road.
Right. So the message here is not to refer to the auto no-fault system as unlimited, because it sounds just like a free-for-all. It isn't a free-for-all. And those people claiming benefits have a significant amount of evidence that they have to prove in order to establish their claims. And trust me, from working on these cases, insurance companies are very good at pushing back and
denying.
And they may say demanding the proof that's required. And sometimes it results in a denial. And unfortunately, that's created a system right now where I think it's too contentious. The situation is too contentious. This was not designed to be an adversarial system. It was supposed to be a system where people got paid regardless of fault and without having to hire a lawyer.
And if somebody's in a situation like that, they can always get a hold of you at the office.
They can. I always hope that they don't need a lawyer for no-fault benefits. But if they have a question, they can reach us online at sinasdramis.com. They can give us a call, 616-301-3333, or shoot us an email at info@sinasdramis.com.
Always good to know the law, Tom.
Thanks, Christian.